What is up, people? My name is Tim Buell. I am a musician who lives in Nashville, Tennessee. I have toured with a bunch of artists: Remedy Drive, Gloriana, Jana Kramer, Jared Neiman, Chris August, Cody Fry. I have done studio work. I do a bunch of stuff related to music, and I work with some incredible people in Nashville, Tennessee. You know as well as I know, if you're a worship leader, an artist, a drummer, if you do anything in music, you are either thinking about running backing tracks or you currently are using backing tracks in your live performances. And I feel like what most people do is they have a love-hate relationship with backing tracks, because what they usually do is they load it on an iPad or a Roland SPD-SX, or they load it into Logic or MainStage or something. They load it somewhere, it's a static thing, they hit the space bar, and if everything goes perfectly, we don't have to change tempos, we don't have to change keys, we don't have to, the artist or the band never gets off from the click track, then hitting spacebar or pressing play on the iPod, it's great. But that's not real life. It never works that well. When you're a worship leader and you have, singers that have a hard time following the click track and remembering the form of the song, and you're a guitar player where you're running tracks and the artist decides to repeat the bridge and you need to repeat the bridge. Tracks, if they're a static thing, very rarely work out, and usually it's either a train wreck or we have to kill tracks, and it's a pain. But it doesn't have to be like that, because that was my life for a long time. When I joined a specific band I'm thinking of, they were running tracks off an iPod, and I said, this is terrible, this has got to go, iPods suck for running tracks, it's a mono split, this is not cool. So then I moved to running tracks off my laptop with Logic, and Logic would crash and all the time, and there was no great way in Logic to jump sections if we wanted to repeat a chorus live in the moment, or if we needed to change the key and all that stuff. Just nothing really worked that well to run tracks. It was always this thing of, I'm going to load it on this thing and hit spacebar, and that's all we get. Until I discovered Ableton. Ableton Live is a DAW, a digital audio workstation, that it's like every other recording program, except it's, for some reason, perfect for running backing tracks. Because with Ableton, this computer program can do so much. You can change tempo, both just by dragging and whatever when you're building your session, and you can also change tempo live in real time. As the band is playing, you can change the tempo of the song and all the tracks change with it. You can change keys, which if you're a worship leader, this is super important, because on one Sunday you might have a bunch of male leading vocalists, and then the next Sunday there's a bunch of females leading worship, and you need to be able to change the keys. So changing the keys on the fly is a really important thing to have when you're running backing tracks. In Ableton, you can jump sections of songs, you can loop sections of songs, open-ended until you want to go on to the next section. You can trigger samples, all out of Ableton. It's like the most amazing program ever for running backing tracks live. So when I discovered Ableton, it was great, and I dove in, and I'm a computer nerd and I love that stuff, and I've worked in Pro Tools and Logic and all this other stuff, so I was like, great. Jumped into Ableton and had no idea what was going on. I couldn't tell. There are two views: there's session view and arrangement view. I didn't know what did what and how it was laid out. I didn't know where to drag files. I knew nothing about it. So I took hours. And I got something that worked. But I didn't know half of the features that Ableton could do. And even the features I was using, I was kind of using them wrong, or at least not in the most efficient way possible to make because our goal with backing tracks is to have it be another musician, not this ball and chain that chains us to a certain way to play the song. We want the tracks to follow us, not us to have to follow the tracks, or we're done. It literally took me 2 or 3 years to get to the point where I was using Ableton somewhat to its full extent. To take the pain out of all of that, I've made a video course that is downloadable called Ableton for the Working Musician. This course is laid out in 4 modules. Each of the 4 modules are laid out in a systematic way where you can start from ground zero. You know nothing about Ableton. You don't even know what wave files are. You start from ground zero in module 1, And it's all about setup, how to store files on your computer, where to put them, how to get, how to organize your folders on your computer so that Ableton can see stuff, how to set up a template and use a template in Ableton, and then loading things into Ableton, knowing where things are, what buttons do what settings do what. That's module 1, getting started from ground zero, knowing nothing about Ableton. Module 2 is about Session View, which is a particular view in Session View, and we talk about how to warp stuff in Session View, how I think Session View can be best utilized to change your set lists around and all this stuff, everything you need to know about Session View. Module 3 is my favorite, and it's about Arrangement View, which is another specific view in Ableton and how to run your backing tracks. Arrangement View lets you do things like loop sections on the fly, change sections around on the fly, edit your song really quickly. Arrangement View is super powerful, and it is the way I think most people should run tracks out of Ableton. And then in Module 4, it's advanced features of Ableton. Things like warping, things like changing tempo during the set, things like live looping and recording samples on the fly and having them loop with you. Just a ton of stuff. Integrating like Roland SPDSXs or keyboards and having that trigger through Ableton. It's advanced stuff that is not necessarily intuitive, but super valuable when you know it. So those are the 4 video modules. And then additionally, it comes with a couple of PDF ebooks. One is a course overview. So as you watch the videos, you'll be able to go through the course overview and see what you're about to learn. You'll be able to skip around if you want. If you already have a little bit of knowledge, you can use these ebooks to skip around, get to the sections you want to see and learn more about. And at the end of every video, if you check the course overview PDF, it'll have action steps for how you can take what you just learned and start applying it to Ableton right now. The other things that I have are PDF cheat sheets, which I have key command cheat sheets. So there's a bunch of really quick, really cool, convenient ways for you to get around in Ableton. And as we all know, when you're learning a new computer program, it can be really confusing to remember, is it Command V to do this or Command Shift Alt? I have created a cheat sheet of all my favorite key commands so that they're right there at a glance so you can learn this program super quickly. There's a PDF guide on a couple of in-a-pinch setups. And what I mean by that is we don't always have the ability to bring a huge interface and really nice stuff. So it's a couple of really small, really stripped down ways that you can start running tracks from Ableton tomorrow, even if you don't have an interface and all this fancy stuff. There's a quick guide on how to set up MIDI commands and an IAC driver. Don't worry if that techno babble is over your head. Just know that it's very hard to remember sometimes, and it's nice to have a cheat sheet because it took me a while to get the hang of it. The 4 modules, the ebooks, the cheat sheets, all of that stuff can be yours today. That's over 6.5 hours of footage, 25 video lessons with the PDF ebook resources, and all of that costs $110. I get it. $110 is not an insignificant amount of money. All of us are going to think twice about a purchase that is $110. However, think about it this way. I get asked a lot about private lessons for Ableton. People hear that I know about Ableton and they say, hey, can I get you for a private lesson? For the cost of 2 private lessons, you can sit down with videos that you can have on your computer to watch anytime you need to. If you're out, you're at sound check and something's not going right with your computer and you're trying to get Ableton to work, you can pull up the video right there. You don't have to call me. You can pull up the video and it's right there for you to review and say, oh yeah, that's right, I'm not doing this right. Your time is worth something, right? I'm not kidding, I have spent hours, 2 or 3 hours. Like I can remember one time specifically, I spent 3 hours Google searching and YouTube searching for this one setting in Ableton that literally, once I found it, took for me to do the rest of the stuff, it took like 10 minutes. But to look for that setting and figure out what I needed to do when I got to that setting, it took me like 3 hours. And even if I'm getting paid $10 an hour, that's $30 that I just wasted looking around for a setting that if I just had someone to say, hey, it's right here, I could have saved $30 of my time. And that adds up. So I know $110 can seem like a lot, but it's the cost of 2 private lessons, but you get to keep all this stuff forever to reference whenever, and your time is valuable. You can Google search and YouTube and find out a lot, but again, it took me 3 years to kind of figure most of it out. And that's a lot of time wasted. And I would have loved to have a course like this, which is exactly why I created it, to save you the pain that I went through that I can never get back. $110 for the video course. Remember, the 4 modules, the 25 lessons, the 6.5 hours of content, the PDF overview book, the cheat sheets, all of that stuff. All you have to do is hit buy now. What that buy now will do is send you to a page that, again, gives you everything that you're going to get when you purchase this. You can review that and then hit purchase. When you hit purchase, it will take you to a PayPal page where you can securely check out using PayPal. Once that payment goes through, you will get an email right away that has download links for all of the videos, all of the PDFs, everything that you need, and it's yours. You download it, you watch it, great. And if you have questions, you can send me an email, timbuellmusic@gmail.com. If you have problems downloading, just send me an email. I will help you get that stuff no matter what. I will help you get it. You're at a crossroads. You can spend a bunch of time and kind of figure it out, but rip your hair out and lose a lot of hours and stay up late and stress out. And at sound checks, you won't exactly know how warp function goes. So when it's not doing the right thing, you won't know how to fix it. And then you'll just have to wipe it for the show and you would have wasted all this time. You want to be a master of this. Backing tracks can be the best thing ever when it's done efficiently and when it's done in a way where we don't have to be slaves to the backing tracks. The backing tracks are a tool that we use that follows us as band leaders, as drummers, as whatever. So you're at a crossroads. You either save a bunch of time, save a bunch of energy so that you can spend it on things like enjoying your life, playing music with people you like, or you can do whatever you were doing, which might work, might not. I don't know. All I know is that Ableton has been the only product that I've found, the only program I've found that is as powerful and as efficient. I've never had Ableton crash. It's the most amazing program ever. I would love for you to purchase this course today. Again, I'm here for you if you have any questions about the course, or once you download it, questions about the course or downloading it or whatever. Please let me know. timbuellmusic@gmail.com is my email. I'd love for you to check this course out. I promise that it will save you so much time and so much energy, and you'll be so much happier running backing tracks and so much more confident. If you still have questions about backing tracks or whatever, I'm here to help. So even if you don't buy the course, send me an email. I'd love to connect, and I'll see you around.